when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
If you're just tuning in, welcome. You are listening to UFO Paranormal Radio Network, or UPRN. We're broadcasting to you live out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana on 105.3 and 107.7. I am one of your hosts. You got two co-hosts here. I'm Lorilei Potvin. I am a host on two shows on the network. Monday nights, the Angel Rock from 6 to 8 p.m. And then the thing at the foot of the bed with my amazing co-host, David Hanzel, who I will pass over to you in just a sec, just a few show notes. First of all, the reason why we wait a few minutes, we always thought there was a show before us, but there isn't. So we can actually start right at 7, and we will. We usually give a little bit of time for shows to switch over. So we will be starting a few minutes earlier next week, just so you know, because we have our resident, and you know I love calling you that. You named yourself it, Erica, Crystal Horror. She's going, what are you guys talking about? Dogman or what? And then we found out the archive server, because we stream 24 hours a day here, 7 days a week on United Public Radio Network, as it's known, or UFO Paranormal Radio Network. So if nobody is live, what happens is, Dave, I'm going to remind you, if you want to stream to whoever you want to stream to on your end, because I don't see it.
Thank you. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Okay. So if there's not a show live, they play old episodes. The network's been around for almost 25 years. So just by chance, apparently one of our old episodes was playing before we went live. So just so you know. So anyways, I meant to mention her, the Crystal Horror. Erica Miras is here. Zach Mann is here. Sandra Sharp is here. Welcome. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Canadian clairvoyant medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and registered nurse. And no, we have no smoke here. I've gotten so many wonderful messages from people all over the world and wondering if we are in the smoke. We are not where we are, most thankfully, but my heart goes out to those that are in the US and Canada. Now, last thing, we are streaming to you on Roku. If you can't, I don't have a channel code for you. So if you want to watch us on TV, you're going to sign into your Roku account, go to the channel store. You're going to look up UFO space P as in paranormal. There's going to be a list that comes up, but you're looking for, I think it's the third or fourth one down. You also have to be logged into your account, I believe. And you, third or fourth one down, it's UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio, I believe it is. So you can find us there. Lastly, if you are on Facebook, everybody over here is on YouTube. Thank you so much. We're also streaming too, by the way, to Dave's. He's streaming, I can see now, to his YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience, and his Facebook group. So you can join in the conversation like everybody else if you head over to UFO Paranormal Radio, whether that is on Facebook, YouTube. You can go to the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin or the Spirit Experience with David. Lastly, I promise all these little housekeeping things. If you're on Facebook and you've never done this before, please head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And all you're going to do is give them permission to use your name and your picture. Otherwise, you just come up as Facebook user and we have no idea who you are. And Erica goes, you're live on the Paranormal Network. Yeah, we're live all over the place. So I'll go over. I want to give poor Dave a chance to introduce himself. Here's David.
Oh, hey, you guys. Thank you, Erica. And Erica, by the way, we were on here. You were just having a bad dream. I'm just kidding. Talking about dreams today.
She's our resident crystal whore. She named herself that.
You were having crystal horror dreams.
I told her I would never, ever forget her ever again, and I don't. And I love that name for her.
We are streaming now to my Facebook group, The Spirit Experience, and my YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience, like she said. And my name is David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium. I do Reiki, angel channeling, guide channeling, spiritual counselor, all kinds of things. Anyway, welcome you guys so much. And like Lorilei said, just to remind you, if you're on here, you'll see right below, if you're watching it from my Facebook group, or from her Facebook group, it says right under it. All I got to do is click on the StreamYard / Facebook thing, and it's just going to say, do you get permission? You put yes, we can see your name and see
This
you.
is what comes up. So I don't know who you are. It says, hi, David, great topic for a vet Facebook user. So it's streaming across the bottom where you go. Sorry, Dave, just wanted to add that so people see that.
This is a great topic for a vet, my friend, whoever you may be. Thank you, Erica. Erica said I give spot on readings. So thank you so much, Erica. I don't know if they're all spot on, but I try to be as accurate as spirit lets me be.
Hi, Zach. I don't know if I said hi to Zach. I saw Zach, man. So hi, Zach, man. Mm-hmm.
And somebody said this is a great topic for a vet. And that is true, because dreams are, we're going to talk a bit about dreams. I'll tell you a little bit what I know. I love dreams, and we dream a few times a night, and there's different types of dreams and different reasons for us having dreams. If you're a vet, I know a lot of people who have like PTSD, or people with anxiety, or people with some of those things. They tend to have some strange dreams sometimes, but don't be afraid of them. I always tell everybody, the dream can't get you. And the dream is usually trying to alert you to something or help you with something. So I was just kind of, and me and Lorilei had talked about this earlier. People always ask us about dreams, and there is no better person to interpret your dream but you. You are the best interpreter for your own dream, because, you know, we've discussed, you can go to any dream book and there'll be 50 million different reasons for dreaming about a cat, or 50 million different reasons for dreaming about a log that fell in front of you. But I'll try to help you as far as like different types of dreams. So I guess we'll just kind of start talking about them. I'll bring the first one up, and the first one would be reoccurring dreams, Lorilei. I get a lot of those from people. Do you?
I do. I have some from a childhood dream that I don't remember. Or I remember, I should say, but I've never figured out why I've had it. It was terrifying. But now that I look back at it as an adult, possibly. But go for it. Let them know what, because we're going to talk about nightmares. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Because actually, you're right, Dave, now that I think of it, as I'm rambling. Yes, that is the most common thing I get. Why do I have a recurring dream? What does it mean?
Yeah, that and the falling dreams. When people have falling.
Can I share something quick? Okay, this is the funny thing that kids used to say all the time when we were little, right? If you're at the top of a building and you're falling, if you actually hit the ground, you die in your dream. And I used to, this is when I was really little, right? I used to be scared, and now I think about it. How ridiculous is that? Like, how do you know you died in your dream? Because if you died in your dream, you're certainly not waking up in the morning to tell people, I fell off the top of the building, I hit the floor, so I died.
You know what? Falling dreams. I'm going to just read this to you, because this text of this is pretty much what I tell people. It's pretty close. Dreams that you're falling usually indicate a loss of control. So if you have a loss, don't pay attention to what you're falling from or anything. Pay attention to, like, are there people around you, or did you fall off your job, like the roof off your job's roof or something like that?
Because where are you, right? Like,
yeah, where are you, basically? Because that could be something just telling you, hey, you're out of control. This is how you get back to it. So reoccurring dreams, I always tell people, if a dream is reoccurring, just from what I know, and I'm going to preface this talk we're going to have to everybody by saying this: no one is a dream expert, I don't think. And I don't think Lorilei and I are dream experts, although we know a lot about dreams. I spent 2 months dreaming, but there is some things that are common in them, as far as flying dreams. If you have a dream about flying and you are not in a plane and you are not anything, you're just kind of flying through the air, most likely at that point, if you can remember this to yourself, you're having an OBE. So you're having an out of body or an astral travel at that point. So if you remember this, next time you have one of those dreams, just say to yourself, oh, I'm astral traveling. Then you'll start having a lucid dream. And in lucid dreams, a lucid dream is you basically being aware of yourself dreaming and directing the things that are happening. A lucid dream, you can direct it. In just a regular dream, we don't really direct it. Our subconscious directs it the most. I'll shut up and I'll let Lorilei go ahead and answer a question.
Lots of great questions or comments here. That's why we were talking about this, because I was talking to somebody that was newly getting into crystals. And I was saying, remember, guys, this goes for everybody. It's a guideline when you pick up a book, especially when it gets into the spiritual, the paranormal. Okay. It's either what somebody has possibly channeled, maybe it's their own personal experiences from learning and speaking to other people. But whether it's dreams or whether it's crystals usually a little bit more concrete. It's a little bit more universally accepted. But I always tell people, when you walk into a store and you're drawn to, say, a crystal, and say it's pink quartz, and that's meant for calming, peaceful, love, what have you, right? But you get a completely different experience from it. Well, the first thing I would do if you're going to bring it home is, well, ask it in your mind's eye. Believe it or not, you're going to hear yes or no, but also clear it, because crystals pick up energy just like anything else does. And there's many ways to do that. But my point is, after you've done all that stuff and you've got it home and you're having a different experience than what the book says, go with what you were experiencing and how you were planning on using it, or what you feel, what you pick up. But especially with dreams, I can tell you right now, in my office in the other room, I probably have 10 books on dream interpretation. None of them match for interpretation. So again, always go with what you're experiencing. Now, Zachman made a very good comment here that I'm going to comment on here, Dave, if that's okay. This is going to be a bit longer answer. Hey, Howie, welcome. So Zachman says, many of my dreams are so messed up that I sometimes can't find the meaning behind it. Yes, that's true. We're going to talk about that, some of the things you can do to help you figure it out. But before I forget, I've been taking some notes. First thing, I had a lady on my show on the Angel Rock called Delphi Ellis. She was actually featured on the now disgraced morning show on ITV over in the UK. Talking about it was a regular topic in conversation in her home since the day she was born, practically. Around the breakfast table, everybody discussed their dreams. What were you taught? What did you dream about last night? And so on. So it really encouraged dream recall. Okay. The other thing Dave touched on too, that I hope we can get into tonight with dreaming, is lucid dreaming. Because I'm telling you guys, once you manage that, now I've had somebody, you may want to check her out. She's awesome. She gives away all kinds of freebies. Her name is Lana Sackwild. She teaches lucid dreaming. Now, this girl, again, I did have her on my show on the Angel Rock, but I'm going to share her personal story because she hasn't kept it a secret. This girl went from having addiction issues, basically homeless, nothing really going on great in her life, but had started practicing lucid dreaming at a young age. She was one of these natural people. Now, what lucid dreaming means is you basically know that you're having a dream and you're conscious of it. And then when you're conscious of it, you can create it to whatever you want to do or experience. She felt the urge to go to Japan, for example. She went there, she met her husband there, but through lucid dreaming. So she basically used her sleep state to do a lot of the work that she could have done while she was awake. And meanwhile, you're accessing your higher self or your subconscious, okay? And I'm not going to get too in depth with this, but this girl has a multi-million-dollar business now. She is so successful. She taught herself how to speak Japanese in her dream state. These are things that we can do. So getting back to recurring dreams, when you're not sure about what is going on, and why I mentioned these two people, and I do try to walk the walk or the talk that I do, just like David does. I have a stack of books here. Before you get up in the morning, okay, before your feet hit the ground, grab that piece of paper and a pen beside your bed and jot a few notes down. Just like Zach said, some of my dreams are so messed up. Yes, and I have heard Believe me, my own kid, my eldest, the dreams he has and he tells me, my God. But just jot down the gist of it, okay? There's a reason why, because over maybe it might be a month, might be a couple of weeks, whatever, you're going to go back and you start noticing a pattern and what have you, right? It may begin to tell the story for you, but also it's very important what David said. In your dream, with that dream recall, when you're thinking about it, especially when it's recurring, where was it happening? What did you notice? Were there other people around you? What were you feeling? All these things using your senses that you can remember. You're going to write this down, including if it was in color or black and white. But I also encourage you to start looking at what is going on in your life at that time when maybe the dream started or when it keeps recurring. And I'm talking about even what time of bed. If you're something out of the ordinary, what time you went to bed, could be foods, could be anything. Just start taking notice of what's going on in your life. And I know Dave has stuff to add, I can tell, because that's going to give you a lot of information when you write this stuff down. Go ahead, Dave, sorry.
Yeah. And in lucid dreaming, remember in lucid dreaming, and that's absolutely true what Lorilei said. I know more people who did that, and I've investigated myself. People actually teach themselves things during a lucid dream.
Sorry.
Because in lucid dreaming, in lucid dreaming, like there are people who are practice piano, they'll practice music, they'll practice seeing it over and over what they learned during the day. There are people
who things you want to experience that
people who study stuff. Keep this in mind though. A lucid dream is still a dream, which means it's not 100% real, but you are going places and doing stuff. There's lucid dreaming, but lucid dreaming can totally change into an OBE, which is an out of body or astral travel. There are many people like your friend also. I think in that part, she probably started astral traveling because you could literally astral travel to another part of this world and see stuff. That's also a part of, what is it called when we, oh gosh, why can I think of it? When we close our eyes and we see a place that we're not at. What is that called?
Remote viewing, you mean? Or
OBEs, remote viewing can be done during out-of-body experiences. Yeah. I can prove that. Well, I can prove it to myself because when I was in the hospital, there was a part where I didn't know what hospital I was at, but I remember leaving the hospital and I went to an airport. And when I went to the airport, I remember standing there just watching planes go by me. And I mean, I was right next to them. I was just watching them go by me. And then I watched the last one go down the runway. I stood behind it and I watched it take off. And then I started running, like for fun, to imitate the airplane. And I just put my hands forward and started flying. And then I flew around for a little bit, and then I woke up a little later on. I had told the nurse that. I said, oh, I went to an airport. And she goes, how did you go to the airport? And I said, well, I was flying there. They thought I was crazy at the moment, which I could totally understand. We happened to have only been about 10 minutes from the airport. So I didn't know where we were. I mean, I had no clue why I was there. I was in a coma. But that would have been, that's not a lucid dream. That was an out-of-body experience or an astral travel dream. I'm going to go ahead and let Lorilei answer Erica's question here.
Erica says, I was taught to use a voice recorder because I couldn't write fast enough. Mm-hmm. Awesome. If you can do that, because you're going to get a lot of interesting information. But when you were talking, one of the things I remember, I'm trying to recall it myself now. What I like about Lana Sackwell, never mind all the free stuff she offers, that she went over the usual method that you're taught to learn how to lucid dream. Some people are natural lucid dreamers, but imagine still getting the rest you need, everything else you need. You're going to dream anyways, but set up your dream experience to experience anything maybe you've always wanted to try out first in the dream state versus, like she said, I remember her saying she was painfully shy and she didn't want to public speak. So in the beginning, she used to practice public speaking in the dream state. And, but what I like about her, like, I think she was talking about this on my show, this was a few months ago, how they normally tell you to say, touch your nose, in your dream, touch your nose, touch your nose, touch your nose. And she says, like, what if you dream and you never touch your nose to be able to tell yourself that you're lucid dreaming? No, it's all coming back to me. So what she gets you to do is do a dream journal, like what we're talking about, for example. And then what you do is you start taking notice of many things we've been talking about, but you write it down. And then she actually gets you to take a tally, like say in a week, of the most common thing that occurs, because obviously if it's occurring, it's going to be occurring that week. So it's kind of like a trigger or a reminder that's personal to you. Does this make sense to you guys? I thought this was so brilliant. Like, why keep telling yourself every time I touch my nose? But what if you never touch your nose in the dream? But say maybe you're smelling bread all week, or you keep having a dream. There's a little thing with bakery keeps showing up or something all week long, and you keep smelling bread baking. So, right, you could set that as a trigger for yourself and be aware when you smell the bread baking, for example, that remind yourself you're lucid. I got so excited I tried this that I woke myself up because I was so excited, because I went, oh my God, I'm awake in my dream.
You're all pissed off at yourself, son of a bee. There's a couple ways I've heard. There's like the red ball thing. That was a famous one. Like if tell yourself a red ball, and then if a red ball bounces by you in your dream, you're like, haha.
What if you never see one? Like she said, that's how she was so realistic about this. And this is like, she's young, this girl. Like she's not in her 40s or something. I don't think she's 30. Like this girl, like you can really believe what she's saying, because she's proving this girl even came from the UK. She went to Japan when she was 19. Like I said, she was an addict. She was all these things, and she'd gotten herself clean and decided she wanted to turn her life around. Well, this girl doesn't even have a British accent. Like, I don't know. I think she practiced getting rid of the British accent in her dreams. Like she was talking about all the things she has done in the dream state. And she said, what wonderful place to practice things or try things. So in a way, we are talking about things like nightmares and repetitive dreams and stuff, but we're also talking about some of the positives that you could do. Because I often said, why do we have to sleep at night? I have so many things I want to do, get done, whatever. I wish I could do some of them in my sleep. And you can. Hey, Shannon. George, didn't forget you. George is popping out because he said some of my dreams are about to be turned into books. I was just going to add quickly, Dave. Check out George's books, you guys. Look him up on Facebook. He's got awesome books on the paranormal all across North America, and he's prolifically writing some new ones. He's amazing. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
George, I agree with you. And just so everybody can also realize this, everything that exists on this planet is because we either imagined it or dreamt about it. So some of the best books and movies we ever saw or read where it came to somebody in a dream. So yeah, I'm very interested in knowing that. I am the same way. I have a lot of dreams that I could write some good nonfiction books or fiction books about. But unfortunately, they're not part of my reality, but they are really good, fun dreams. Shannon said, I often have dreams, but I'm very aware of where I am and what's happening. And I know I'm not in a deep sleep. Would this be lucid dreaming? There's a way you can tell that, because what you're describing can either sound like an OBE or a lucid dream. If you can control where the dream goes from there, it's lucid. If you can't control and you're just an observer, that's OBE. And an OBE or an out of body, you're more or less an observer. You can go places, you have control to go places and all that, but you're literally just in a dimension or a realm. I could say is probably the easiest way to put it. But that's what I believe anyway. What are your thoughts, Lorilei?
Well, I agree with you, but what I was going to say, Shannon, next time you're in that state, and maybe think about something before you fall asleep, because that was something else. And again, it's not that I'm putting Lana on a pedestal. It was just like, I love that she's so realistic, and she's kind of got proof in the pudding about what she's done. And she's not running around in the whole show bragging about what she did. She's excited, and she's sharing with you, going like, look what you guys could do. Like, she was a natural lucid dreamer. My partner, Dell, is a natural lucid dreamer. And some of the dreams he tells me and dream recall, and he can change his dreams. He can get woken up and decide he's going right back into the dream and he's going to do whatever. Okay. Some people do that naturally, but it doesn't mean we can't learn to do it. So if you know this is going to, or if it happens with fair amount of frequency, Shannon, or anybody else, or even if you don't know, you can try it.
Yeah. No, it's OBE. Keep in mind.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, but set something that you want to do or you want to try, especially where it would be really helpful you know you're having a recurring dream. Maybe it's even a nightmare and you want to change it. You know, maybe you're probably going to have it that night or in the next coming nights. What do you want to change it into? Decide before you fall asleep. Then when you fall asleep, like, and you're in this state, Shannon, and you're wondering, you're aware you're in a dream. What are you going to do with that dream, regardless of what it is? What are you going to turn it into? What do you want to do? You can do anything you want. You go anywhere you want in the dream state. You're not going to get hurt, like David said. You could practice flying. You could go to other planets. You could meet with aliens. You could have a conversation with Bigfoot if you want, or any other. You could do whatever you want. That's the beauty in it.
Dreams are. One of the first books I read as a child was called Night Flyer.
Oh, I've heard that one.
Night Flyer is about a kid. The synopsis, if I can remember, it was a long time ago.
Read the coolest books as a little kid. I was reading textbooks on dolphins at 6 and all kind. I was into animals.
I know kids in school were reading like Frog and Toad, Our Friends, and I'm reading dreams about astral travel, and because that's just the way my mind was.
Parents.
That's the way my mind was when I was growing up. But in this book, Night Flyer, which was it was a fiction book, okay, but the premise was there was a kid who wasn't very liked in school. People didn't like him. He was a lonely kid. He discovered that he could do astral travel or OBEs pretty much whenever he wanted to. So he would go to school and he would sneak out of school and go into a park or something and hide behind a tree and close his eyes and start traveling around to do things. And now this kid wanted to, in his dreams, find out how to hurt people, which is a bad thing. It's kind of a bad book that way. But it got so bad for him, he totally left the real world and was constantly doing these dreams. So he stopped eating, he stopped everything until he almost passed away. And that's how this book, I can't remember how the book ends, but that's another thing too. Remember, in your dreams, when you become really good at it, dreams, OBEs can turn into remote viewing, because I can't tell you how many times I've purposely had dreams about things and saw things and then went to look it up or ask people about it, and it was the same thing they knew about, and I had never physically been there. I was only there spiritually.
You might have to tell people what remote viewing is. There may be people that may not know what remote viewing is.
Remote viewing is a skill that some people naturally have it, but it can be taught. It can be taught. Yeah, it can be taught because you do it. But it's basically not even in a sleep state, just closing your eyes and letting your mind go to a place.
And I'm going to share how I learned. When you go ahead and share your experience.
And the first time that I knew I could do this, I was screwing around and I came across this test, and they kind of said how to do it and all that. And it was by drawing circles and triangles and shapes as you see them, which I started doing, but I'm like, no, I'm not. I know exactly where it is. And I remember in this thing, I kept seeing, I was in like Antarctica or something. I couldn't get the direct thing, but I was in the snow, and there were 3 bases. There's one here, one here, one here. And I was seeing all this, and I wrote down all my stuff, and then I flipped it over to see if I was right. It was exactly there. They had the picture of the place. Yeah. So you just kind of go there. Now, that was probably the best one I ever did. My first one was the best one. After that, I don't think they're as good, because I don't do it as much. But remote viewing is I do that sometimes with people trying to find stuff, or sometimes I'll be talking to clients on the phone and I'll pick up that the dog is like in a room next door or something like that. And I'm like, you have a dog in your room next door that looks like this? They're like, yeah, how did you know? Well, I usually just laugh and go, because I'm psychic. That's why you called me. But it's because I could actually, but I could actually see the dog in my head. So that's kind of what remote viewing is. I'm going to give it back to, I just want to quick read Howie's, and I'm going to give it back to Lorilei remote
I have
viewing.
all kinds of stuff to say about remote viewing. So
Okay, we're going to talk about remote viewing for a minute because remote viewing is really quite fascinating, and there are other countries that have experts in it, and I know our country does too. But
I know that's what I was going to talk about a little bit. But
yeah, but I won't go too far into it, or they'll shut us off on YouTube. But Howie says in Tao, we're taught that thought control is established in REM sleep. We strengthen our physical as well as our mental. That is so absolutely freaking correct, Howie. I believe that myself. Because I have used my REM sleep to strengthen things about myself. I have, as a child, I don't know how I did it. I don't know. But I would travel while I was sleeping and go look in closets and stuff while I was sleeping that I would normally be afraid to look into if I was awake. And I would, see, oh, there is nothing in there. I'm fine, So it was really quite interesting. Go ahead, Lorilei. Let's talk about.
Erica, my little crystal queen here. You're reading my mind. I literally just looked it up. We're going to talk about this. Okay, so remote viewing, I learned how to do, and somebody that I really love. I keep saying I'm going to have him back on my show. Chuck Kennedy, Dr. Chuck Kennedy. Now, he is a nurse. He's got a doctorate in neuroscience and neurobiology and a whole bunch of stuff. He is actually, he believes, mapped in the brain where psychic ability is. There's a friend of ours, some of us will know here by the name of Katrina Cooper. Dave knows her. I know her. Zach knows her. Howie knows her. Probably a lot of us do, okay? And he used her and got her. He knew there was paranormal activity in his building. What he pretty well was familiar with, the spirits were there, and he got Katrina to interact. It is on YouTube. You can see it. You just got to look up, I think it's called Brain Mapping or of Psychic Abilities with Katrina Cooper. I think it's on Chuck Kennedy's channel. And he calls it the region of psi. It's behind the left ear, he believes. And he could tell when people were using their imagination versus psychic ability. Okay. But he also teaches remote viewing. Now, remote viewing, how most of us have become familiar with it, is there was and I know Howie or Zach are going to give me the name because it slipped my mind. There was a portion of the government, I think it's Project Stargate, if I'm not mistaken, that was a remote viewing team that they say is now defunct. I don't think so. But anyway, they would use this. And what it is, if you look at it, we've heard of universal consciousness, that everything's energy, right? Including our thoughts and our everything else, like how Dave was able to tap into the dog in the next room. So he ended up, I'll back up a bit. So they would use this, the US government, to be able to, hi, Brandy, to be able to go and access spying basically against other countries and all kinds of stuff, right? And they didn't have to leave the building. They just used their minds. Ingo Swann is one of the best remote viewers. Look him up, INGOSWANN. He's no longer alive. Look him up. Now, there was also somebody on that team by the name of Lynn Buchanan, and I know that Erica will know who that is when I bring this up. Anyways, long story short, the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats with George Clooney, that was based on the remote viewers in the U.S. military. But Dr. Chuck Kennedy has developed a method, and what he does is he has groups of psychics, he has groups of just remote viewers, and he teaches a specific type. He actually got he claims some information from KGB as well to bring in some remote viewing, as well as the U.S. methods. There's all kinds of remote viewing, okay? And he teaches it. And then what he does is if he gets a report from, say, a cold case or a missing person, he coordinates it, puts it out to his teams, and has them remote view. And I will tell you how I learned. And it's very different. I've taken Erica. She's talking about Lori Williams. Lori Williams, you guys can check her out on Facebook. It's remote viewing with Lori Williams. Sorry. Oh, did I just lose the page? I just lost it. I'll find it, guys. Here it is. Sorry, hit the wrong button. She has free master classes. She will teach you how to start remote viewing, and it's called controlled remote viewing. Chuck's is a little bit different. And how it started was he gives you a meditation, gets the brain waves down into the theta level. So a little bit of a level of hypnosis, if you will. Not hearing a voice, it's just binaural beats, if you will, toning. Then what he does is I was given a 12 or 14 digit number as practice. You don't know what it is. And long story short, there's a whole process, but you start sketching. You have no idea what you're going into or what you're viewing, whatever. He gets you to practice. By the end of it, you actually end up with a location of what you're looking at, and it works. I've done it. Okay. Controlled remote viewing is very different. It's just training your mind. Some people are natural remote viewers, but the thing I'm going to tell you, and Erica will tell me all about this, or about this too, with Lori, because she talks about it in her masterclass. There have been people that can remote view into the future. They get hired by big companies to see if their project is going to be successful in the future. I'm not kidding. You can look this up. Or you can go back in the past as a remote viewer. You can go into the present time and visit all around. You're not asleep. You can go, you can check out anything you want. You don't have to go leave your room. It is mind-blowing, and I'm saying it very, very, very quickly. So I'm going to read some of these comments, Dave. So it's not a dream state.
I got a real quick comment to add.
Okay.
I'm curious about something. I was just thinking about this as you said it, and I thought, when the companies, now I do believe we can remote view the future.
There's no time. Past, present, future happen at the same time.
The reason I do know that is because, Erica, that is how I can be accurate when I talk to people, because I can see some of the future in it. Now, here's the thing, though, what I also have to preface with me anyway, or what I've learned, my guides even told me. I'm seeing the future of the path that they are currently.
I knew you were going to say that because I'm thinking the same thing.
So whatever path you're currently on, that's the future I'm going to see for that ending path. So if I see something that's not so great, I'll tell someone, listen, where you're at right now isn't going to get you to where you want to be very quickly. There's a suggestion I can give you if you choose to take it that will get you there faster, because I can see that either. Because see, when like psychics are like us, I don't know how we actually see it, and it's hard to explain it, but like I tell people, it's almost like I see it.
Time travel.
I think of it as seeing a line of smoke for each person. And if the smoke is a steady stream, and if I see a disruption in smoke, and I'm like, there's something that's happening right there that's going to keep
the fire's getting put out instead of burning brighter.
So that's how I look. So I was just wondering about that.
I'm so glad you said that, because like Erica said, there's not a lot of people that can do this. This is a gentleman Lori talks, but I want to say his name is Bill. I don't know his first name, but I agree, because she said they get paid big bucks. You're darn right they do, especially if you've been proven to be true. But Lori Williams, for example, and this has blown my mind, and I can't find the interview. She did a remote viewing session for Connie Willis. She used to have Blue Rock Talk on Facebook. She's now on behind a paywall. I want to say Coast to Coast. I'm not sure. That's what I heard. But Lori did an interview with Bigfoot years ago, and Lori's been proven to be 86% accuracy with her remote viewing, so that's pretty darn good. Okay,
like 85 is a standard even for psychics. I know that they consider somebody a good psychic, a good medium, or a good anything if you're at least 85%.
Well, that's pretty good for remote viewing.
That's good.
But she had no interest in Bigfoot in any way, shape, or form. She did it at the request of Connie, who had a real interest. I don't know if she still does at this time. And I listened to this interview. Oh my word. She got it down to the smell, the whole bit. I wish I could remember. If I remember correctly, she spoke to an elder and she goes, what is that smell? Why am I smelling this? And apparently this elder, Bigfoot, said to her, well, we think you smell. And if I remember correctly, the information she received was they've just always been here, that they weren't, that I think there was something to a dimensional element. Please don't quote me on it. It was like 10 years ago when I watched this, and I was trying to find it for Dell about a year or two ago. I looked everywhere, Wayback Machine. I could not find this interview. It was wiped. If you can find it, Check it out because it is so amazing to hear a perspective from somebody who had no interest. And she drew some sketches because sometimes you can with remote viewing, depending on what kind you're doing. Okay. Super intriguing. But my whole point is I'm reading all these comments, and of course, Howie, John Teeter. Now we're getting into time travel, right up my alley. Love talking about this.
Time travel.
So I do want to say that so I agree with you, Dave, that because I don't tell the future when I do a reading, or if I do, I tell people this exact wording, that as it is right now, as I see it on the timeline that you were on. But remember, and then I usually use the analogy of every morning, get up at the same time, do the exact same things, take the exact same way to work. But tomorrow morning, you wake up late, you stub your toe, you broke your toe, nothing's working, your car, your engine, everything's gone on your car. So you got to call a cab, you're late to work, you go a different way. That's kind of what can happen with a timeline, right? We can make different choices. We have free will. So just because I may see something in one timeline doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come to fruition. Same as that's why if you do run into somebody that gives you gloom and doom, most, I think, ethical psychics do not do that, including myself nor Dave, in the fact that we're going to tell you anything that's going to scare you or be nasty to you. But like Dave said, he may suggest, should you decide to strengthen it or receive it quicker, but we're not going to give you something bad. But say you do run into somebody like that, there are people out there that will do that. Remember, it's not written in stone. You can change the future. You can. I'm sorry, but you can. So I agree with you. I don't know what the answer to this is, but I believe that this gentleman that is very successful, that Erica and I are talking about, that does remote view the future, I believe he is able to look at many of the timelines and then sort of take an average of what would be successful. Like, this guy is really gifted. That's why a lot of people don't do this. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
That would make more sense if you actually looked, like if you're going to do this for a company. Let's say somebody called me up and said, "Hey Dave, can you let us know if this new prism triangle that is like a garbage disposal will do well?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look at every time timelines will come up. If where they are now with this, I can look straight ahead and go, "No, dude, that is so not going to go well because there's something different or better that's coming this way." But if you want it to do well, you could adjust this, do this, and market it this way, and then you'll get to your path.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I think. I wondered if that's what he probably does for those two. Probably a lot better explanation than I can give. Sometimes I'm really terrible at giving an explanation of how I do
I think
things.
you explained it perfectly. And the problem is, right, there's not a lot of people that do this, but where this can work, and Erica, you will back me up on this too, with Lori, you can go back, you could find lost treasure that people have been looking for. You can do all kinds of things with remote viewing. The reason why I took the course, and then I got so busy and I haven't been building on this, was a couple of years back. And I know that Dr. Chuck Kennedy even has he's ordered, and he does use it amongst his teams, sketch artists we used to have right back in the day to sketch a face. Now, say somebody's seeing a face, and you can't really describe it. He's 170 pounds, slightly balding, dark hair to here, kind of thinnish face. That doesn't give you a picture. So I know he does also with his different teams. Some are psychic and some are just really good remote viewers. And he doesn't tell you whether you're right or wrong. He just collects the information from his teams, and we don't go get involved in cases. And like I said, he has specific, like, he's the one that does the coordinating basically. But then the way he tried to explain it on my show years ago was he'll look at something that's maybe showing up a lot versus, if it's showing up amongst 20 people, there's probably a good likelihood that there's something going on with it. I believe he said at their time, their accuracy rate was at 93 or 94%. But he teaches people in some of the more deeper classes, the deeper you get into it, how to check a body, say with a cold case or something, you're looking for somebody that's missing to see if their heart is beating or where they're located. It's really incredible, and it's so fascinating, and I am so drawn to it. So some people are natural remote viewers, and the other thing I'm going to add, as my abilities it's like a muscle, the more and more you use it, sometimes I will remote view without even trying to see it. Go ahead.
I did a remote viewing thing working with some people looking for a body. They didn't know if the person was gone, and I saw the body, and they said, "Are they alive?" And I said, "Well, if he can breathe underwater, yes." But he was at the bottom of the
pull guides into it though. Hi, Carrie. We got a Facebook user. Just gonna let you know, please head over to facebook.com or streamer.com /Facebook. Just say yes to them using your picture and name, and we'll know who you are. If you've done it before, you're still showing up this way, please just let us know who you are, because that's how you show up to us.
Yeah, if you're watching Facebook user, if you're watching this from my Facebook group, you'll see right under this, it's going across even on this one. It'll say that it's there.
Okay, so Erica, you're asking, you had him on your show. Are you talking about Dr. Chuck Kennedy? Yes, I have had him on my show, if that's who you're talking about. Lori Williams, I have talked to, wanted to have her on. I probably need to connect with her. She's so busy though too, but she did agree to come on. So maybe that's something we'll do a show on the Angel Rock about, is remote viewing. Maybe that'd be fun.
So let's see, where somebody had a really good...
Oh, that's what I wanted to add to you quickly. He doesn't teach people about their guides and stuff. So some people, like I said, aren't even psychic. So they don't know that they've got guides and angels around them. So they're just relying on the method and what he's taught them and how they're utilizing it.
Yeah, there is a lot of people, like even in the
yes, I had him on my show. He was awesome.
Let's say the government, who do remote viewing, who have absolutely zero belief in the paranormal or the afterworld or anything else, because you don't need to have that belief in order to do it. Because once again, and we'll say it a million times probably at some point, is we are energy. So when you're energy, you can go all kinds of places and see all kinds of things. So you can check up on these things.
So instead of going to a fear-based perspective in a way, and we didn't even plan this, we are telling you about all the potentials of what you guys can do. And none of us are any specialer than anybody else. Okay. We all have these abilities. That's why you guys often hear me say, it'll be on this show, on my other show, about how powerful and incredible we are as human beings. But we have never been taught that we have these abilities, but we do. Hi, Roger Garza.
Oh, it's really cool. If we go back to recurring dreams for recurring.
Okay.
Let's go back to recurring dreams for just a second. I have an interesting little story that was, it's a very short story. I used to be a musician years and years and years ago. And when
Dave did our intro. That's how talented he is, because I couldn't do it.
Me laughing and talking in the beginning. But when I was started to do readings and stuff back when I was like really doing readings and really going seriously, opening up my own thing. And this was back in that LW, you know what, that group we were in, Lorilei, that we can't.
Oh, it's like Voldemort. It shall remain nameless.
Anyway, one time I kept getting all these questions from people. I kept getting really frustrated because in sometimes when a lot of people ask a lot of questions, a lot of the answers come in your head and you got to figure out which answer goes to what person. But anyway, I started having these dreams where I was on stage with my drummer and my guitar player back when I was younger. And there's a big audience and they were cheering and cheering. And I came out, and right when I started to sing out I started to sing, I could not remember the words.
Oh, that'd be a nightmare.
Quiet, everybody would just stare at me and everybody would look at me and I'd be like, and then the dream would end. One time I said to my guides, I'm like, why this dream over and over? And he said 4 little words to me. And that was, he goes, "You're in your head." And I was like, what? He's like, "You're in your head." And I kept hearing that over and over. I said, fine. So next time I had that dream, I consciously remembered when I had the dream that I'm having this dream. And when I went out to start singing, I just said to myself, "Stay out of your head." And I sang the entire song in that entire dream. And that's what it was. It was just something they were just trying to tell me. The reason I was getting messed up with information sometimes is because I was getting into my head too much. Because when you're a psychic and medium or doing anything spiritual like this, you got to put yourself aside. You can't be there, really. You kind of have to be off to the side. That's why whenever I see psychics or channelers get emotional over stuff, sometimes they get overly emotional. I'm like, you're getting in your head. because you got to remember it's not happening to you. Now,
my biggest thing is when I'm doing readings, especially in the beginning, and this is where is a fine line between like building confidence with it, right? Because people can learn to do this, is that you receive something and it's like, what the hell is that? Where did that come from? That has nothing to do with what we're even talking about. And you're going, do I say it? Do I not? Like, this really doesn't resonate. Like, did I pull the wrong card? If you're pulling a card, or you're getting a message, and then your guides invariably will step in and say, remember, the message is not for you. And then when you do share it, right, you find out the person goes, oh my God, like, yes. So that's what I'm trying to say, like, and Dave is too, to share with you.
I told you that, and after this, if you can go up and find Brandy Reader's comment, the one about the pineal gland, I wanted to talk about that for a second.
Sure.
But I had been doing a reading for somebody one time, and I talked to all this girl. Her entire family was coming in, and they were so validating and so perfect. And I was like, even I was sitting there going, I am giving myself a pat on the back. I'm so good. But all of a sudden, the one person she wanted to talk to would not come in. And I even said, listen, why don't you just give me your name? I'm going to see if she's there. And I explained to her, we don't summon people. I can literally just put out there, is she there? And I just said her name, and I kind of asked in my polite way, like I do. I usually say, hi, it's me, Dave. I'm talking to your loved one, blah, blah, blah. Just like real quickly, kind of, not those exact words. And all of a sudden, I just started seeing goats. I'm like,
I remember you told me this.
I started seeing goats, and I was like, what? And at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. And I sat there and struggled, and I kept telling her, I don't think
we're not 100% right. None of us are. Okay.
So that's why I said, I don't think I can get her in, and I apologize. But I said, before I go, I said, I like to tell everybody everything I see, so I need to tell you. I said, when I put your aunt's name out there, I kept seeing goats. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. And she goes, she was a goat farmer. The woman was a literal goat farmer. And I mean, the message could not have, if she would have had a real brick to throw at me, I probably would have went, I don't even know what that means. I was so out of my head. That's why I say I was so in my head. That's why I say you got to step aside.
Yep.
So Brandy Reader, I love Brandy. Hi, Brandy. I miss you. Me and Brandy have done a few investigations together. She said the pineal gland plays a role in the dream state. Some people's pineal gland becomes calcified, disrupting the production of melatonin. I am a believer in the pineal gland. That is literally your third eye. The pineal gland is actually like a brain and stuff. I got the, I don't want to say I'm told. I wasn't told. I got the instruction, if I wished, to start decalcifying myself. And I remember the day I got that, I stopped using fluoride toothpaste. I stopped drinking fluoride water. I stopped doing everything. And you know what? Honest to God, within 6 months, a lot of my stuff improved more than it was.
We have to be careful what words we use here on YouTube, but yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Just with the stuff in the toothpaste, because believe it or not, that'll get them going, because they don't want you to know that. Check it out for yourself.
I've stopped using any products that had
that have F stuff in it. It's the F word.
We can't say that. Yeah, I wonder if they'd ever do that.
Oh, they will. They will. So, so just read your labels, and it was snuck in there already, but it's common in toothpaste. It's common in water. Just maybe check that up yourself and see what it says about your pineal or however you want to call it gland. And I agree with you. Yes, it can definitely cause calcification, but there's something else that my guides just reminded me of. And you can take it or leave it if it resonates with you. What we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. Now, I agree with what Brandy is saying, because there is science to prove this. Absolutely. There's many things in the air. There's lots of things that can cause problems with this. And yes, when you do what Dave said, it can't hurt. And more than likely, you're going to find that, yes, you have a lot more clarity, definitely, when connecting with the other side. So I agree with you. But also remember how powerful your brain is. So by even saying to yourself, picturing it decalcifying, all of any hardening or tough, whatever you want to picture it, it looks like a little pine cone deep in the center of your brain. Start using those brain waves. Believe it or not, sounds crazy, but there is science to back it up too. So between actively doing something with your diet and what you put in your body, as well as using your mind, affirmations are powerful, and start focusing on it's clear, it's cleansed, I'm open. You'd be surprised what would happen. I do want to say one quick thing though, Dave. Or go ahead, were you going to add something? Because I do want to add something here.
There was I was going to say, oh, the F word that I was discussing before. I had heard it. I don't know if it's conspiracy or what. I don't have a view. Let's just say I don't have a view on it. I know that it works for me, but the F word, I was told that was put in the water a long, long time ago because I guess there were studies that if your pineal gland is calcified, it literally dumbs you down. And if you're dumbed down, that's literally your cognitive thinking or your awareness is different. That's why people like me or Lorilei or stuff, because we do these things all the time, probably Brandy and Erica, all this. When we see things, sometimes we see past it to the truth. So it's really hard for people to pull one over on us. And that's because of the awareness that comes with not having a big old calcified, mess in your head. And if you have that, it might be difficult. You'll probably believe anything, maybe. I'm not quite sure.
Well, like I said, that's why I think Spirit gave me what we believe, or what we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. So, okay, so we've shared this with many people. Is it not true? I don't believe it. I believe there is some truth to it. Absolutely, with what Brandy said. But it can't hurt to add visualization and an affirmation that my pineal gland is clear. It is free of whatever you want to say, just so I don't know what will trigger what here. And believe me, that's one of the things that they didn't want us to know about the F word, right? It would be open and clear, and we would have this information everywhere. That's the way I look at it. Not being conspiracy princess here, as Joe Montaldo, the owner of our network, likes to call me jokingly. He says there's only one more woman he knows that believes in conspiracy more than me, and he calls her the queen. I don't call it conspiracy. I call it truth seeking and looking at all avenues, and whatever resonates, taking a look and either bunking or debunking it, right? But I do want Roger.
It's only conspiracy if that person participating in it refuses any other facts.
Okay, what I want to do, because this is a new host on our network, and Roger, I hope you're still here. Sorry, we get deep in these conversations because Roger, I did produce Roger and Faye today. We have many new hosts. That's what I forgot to say. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening to The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with myself, Lorilei Potvin, and my amazing co-host and friend, David Hanzel, and you're listening to 105.3 and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. It's UPRN, otherwise known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network, or our other name, United Public Radio Network. So I do some producing behind the scenes on the network because we have many amazing and incredible new hosts and shows on the network. So if you like what you're seeing, please share, like, subscribe, and tell all your friends and family about it, because there's something for everybody on the network. For those of you joining later, Erica was here earlier. She was confused. She thought we were talking about dogmen because just by chance, one of our old shows was playing before we started live, because this network is streaming 24 hours straight. If we're not live or a syndicated show is on, old shows from the network are playing. So Roger and Faye Garza, they were filling in for another host over in the UK, Paul Francis, who wasn't able to be here for his show. But they are hosts on Wednesday nights with Latino Psychic Visions and on Saturday mornings with This Mug's for You. they gave us a huge shout out for our show tonight in the Angel Rock. He was here in the chat. I want to give him a shout out. I'm also going to give Howie Odell a huge shout out because we are working on it. Howie didn't get a chance to message you back, but he's invited David and I to be on his show, The Orion Effect, on the Rift Network, which is Howie's network. He does support our network quite a bit. So giving him a shout out, and hopefully it'll work out. It's from 7 to 9, Dave, on Sunday night. We'll talk about it after.
Most likely, it's most
That's
likely.
what I said to Howie already. We didn't get to that message yet, Howie, but I told him we'll be there. So he wanted to talk about NDEs and all kinds of things. So it's going to be an amazing thing. We'll tell you more as we get closer. But we got to support one another this way, you guys, and help each other out. Let people know about really interesting topics that we like to talk about, like covered on this show. Now, I wanted to highlight this. It's a little bit off track here, but John Teeter. How many people have heard of John Teeter? Howie mentioned him.
I don't believe I have.
Oh, you have not heard? Well, okay, let's get
I might know who he is and just not know the name.
Okay, let's get into the truth seeking here. And Zach, man, I'm going to see your comment here. I'm scrolling down. You can always call F-, what we were talking about. Don't know if YT's algorithm can detect words by chemical formula yet. I don't know either, Zach. It's hard to say. I wonder the mental state of those with Alzheimer's could be reversed and working with the gland. It would certainly be worth a try, Brandy. As a nurse and some of the research I've looked at, there's a lot of heavy metals that can be involved. And I know they're also looking at an autoimmune issue as well, but I certainly couldn't hurt to definitely give it a try. No, I'm just reading a few comments here and then I'm going to get to John Teeter. Sandra Sharp says, yes, David, in the 60s and 70s, when cults were a big thing, they were putting F-word tablets in the pitchers of water at their gatherings to weaken people's ability to discern. Absolutely. You know what else I seen recently that I thought was absolutely crazy till I looked at it? Somebody sent me this about coffee that actually dumbs you down. Coffee dumbs you down. And I thought this is crazy till I started thinking about it. Caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. What's that, Dave?
I said, I've got to be stupid then.
Well, no, but I was thinking about that because you feel more alert. But then I started thinking caffeine is a vasoconstrictor, meaning it constricts the blood to the brain. I'll have to pull up the article because I forget who sent it to me because I was thinking that can't be true. And then after I started reading it, I went, holy crap, this does make a lot of sense.
It could. I mean, I wouldn't see why it couldn't. I mean, I don't drink much coffee anymore, actually. And in all honesty, I maybe drink a half a cup if I even get through that a day. John Teeter, real quickly.
Jane loves your hair.
I don't know exactly who John Teeter is, but I do remember this saying, and I know this saying, and the saying is, every possible thing that can happen or will happen has already happened somewhere, and that's absolutely freaking true.
So I want to point this out, Dave. Jane loves your hair.
It's a I don't know. It's I have a hate-love relationship with
I love David's hair too. We could do a whole show on Dave's hair because I love it. He used to wear it really short and then he let it grow and I love it long.
This is what my hair looks like when it just dries. So
it looks awesome. Thank you, Erica. Yes. Okay, Jamie's gonna we got lots of stuff. People know who John Teeter is. Erica, military time traveler. So there was somebody by the name of John Teeter showed up. Long story, you can look him up. Claimed to be a time traveler. He ended up, I believe, getting in with the U.S. government that didn't believe him the whole bit. He was in a locked room and then he kind of just disappeared. I'm really making it very short. He claimed he was from 2036. Jane has saying he was on Art Bell. For those of you who don't know Art Bell, I don't know how you couldn't, but he had an amazing show, kind of a predecessor, if you will, of Coast to Coast AM. I believe he may even have been on there before George Norrie, and he had the most incredible guests and things on there. It is an epic, iconic show. If you can listen to some previous episodes, I strongly encourage you to, because there are things on there you never thought were possible that you will hear on that show. And a lot of those people, some of the things I've heard, I do believe they were for real.
Yeah, TikTok has like 30 billion time traveler people on there too, which really pisses me off because when other people pretend and fake stuff, it really brings down the credibility of other people who are actually telling the truth.
I'm going to be really honest, not that I'd lie about this. And you know who used to do a lot of time travel? Like YouTube has really clamped down on stuff. There was a channel called Apex TV, and they used to have like they would put any Tom, Dick, and Harry and Jane, and not Jane Walker, but you know what I mean. Anybody that claimed they were a time traveler, they would put their story on there. Now there is an iconic story. I don't know if it's still on here. My previous co-host in my previous network, and she was on here on Tuesday nights with me before, Seraphine Hurley and I did a whole thing on this. And she found it. We were on a previous network. There is a recording, and I believe it was on Apex TV. This is a crazy story. Brandy Reader goes, interesting. I'm going to have to research John Teeter. And he's not the first, by the way. Look it up. There's all kinds that have claimed to be time travelers. This story is one of the craziest stories. And it starts off with a 911 call of this woman calling 911. And they claim it's a 911 phone call. And she's living alone in her house, and she thinks there's a break-in. And you can hear the 911 operator. This channel is no more on YouTube. I've looked for it. I can't find it. It was called Apex TV. And apparently the 911 operator sent it with a letter saying he's never been able to contact this lady and find out exactly what happened. So I'll tell it. It's a little bit of a long story. I'll try and keep it really short. Anyway, she's on the phone with the 911 operator because she's watching TV. She lives alone with her cat in this big house, and she hears a window or glass smash, and she runs upstairs into one of the bedrooms and locks the door. As she's talking to the 911 operator, she realizes her cat, I think Marvin, is downstairs, and she's horrified. She has to go rescue Marvin. And the 911 operator is going, no, stay put, stay put, stay put. She's going, no, I'm just going to see. I don't hear anything anymore. And the guy's yelling at her like the cops are on their way, but they still haven't shown up yet, right? They don't know what was going on. It was a smaller town. Cops were going to be a ways out. So she goes downstairs and she's calling Marvin, 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 trying to find the damn cat. All of a sudden, you hear her go, no! And the operator's going, what? She goes, I just stepped on glass. My foot's bleeding. So, right. And there's a few things built into this. Don't know if this story is real or not. You guys can make up your own mind. Then she gets into the bathroom. And the reason why she stepped on glass, there is her vanity mirror. There's a big hole punched through it and broken. As she turns around, she starts screaming. And then she starts saying the Our Father. You eventually get out of her that she says there is a naked man in her bathtub laying unconscious. And she goes, oh my God, it's my husband. And he goes, I thought you said you lived alone. She goes, I do. And he goes, what do you mean it's your husband? She goes, my husband died 12 years ago. She goes, it is him. It's the same tattoo. And she's screaming, she's crying, she's sobbing. She goes, but he's younger. He's like when I first met him. And then long story short, the police show up. Basically, this guy's critically injured in the tub. And then the men with the black suits and hats shows up all of a sudden. And by the time the police show up, the 911 call goes dead. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently they eventually found these people and did an interview. I don't know if it's true or not. And that's where Seraphine and I left it. Nonetheless, whether it's true or not, it was fascinating. But this guy never told his wife, apparently, what he did for a living when he was alive. And he was part of a secret program. Didn't say what government. I'm guessing probably US. And he was a time traveler, he says. I mean, we have the Boys of Berlin. We've got all kinds of things. Not the first time we've looked at time travel, right? And the Philadelphia experiment. There's all kinds of things. Anyways, he supposedly died. And they were saying that, I guess, I don't know, I forget how it happened, but he did come back from another timeline, but his previous younger self, he didn't even know this woman. Her name was Kathy. They hadn't even really met from where he came in the timeline. It is mind-blowing. Have you heard this story, by the way, at all, Dave?
I've heard somewhat of it. Yeah, somewhat of it. I love stories like that too. Whether you think they're true or not, I always say in the spiritual aspect or anything, there's always a little bit of truth to something told, because that's how things manifest. It's like
I don't know if it's true or not. And to me, and of course, the Dell, who is a skeptic, most of us have to be skeptical in this field. I'm a little bit more open because I believe that the truth will always reveal itself. I know you're a skeptic as well. We need to be skeptical in this field. But like Del kept saying, where's the siren noises in the background? Why aren't the radios squelching and stuff? I said, well, you would think the way the guy described it when he uploaded it, he tried to maintain people's identities as like he would have blocked that out. Like you're not going to hear the 911 operator on their walkies going, you know, unit 999, blah, 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 you know, all the codes you hear. So I don't know if it was real or not, but it certainly was fascinating to hear this call. And believe me, I did not do it justice what I just shared with you guys.
I love stuff like that.
So well, Erica said the show, the Quantum Leap.
Do you know, listen, there's a theory, and trust me, I don't know the answer to this theory, even for my NDE, because there's nothing in my NDE that had anything to do with this theory. And I've asked my guides, and I can pretty well hear my guides pretty well. And I have asked, and my one guide always says to me is that same thing. He said to me, doesn't matter. Whenever he says doesn't matter to me, it means understanding information or the information is incredible or isn't anything. But I had heard, I said, for there's always another world that's playing out your opposite decision. So so maybe in another dimension, David did not survive the sepsis, or in another one, David actually became a musician and never went into spirituality, or he became this. It's interesting to know. And I know that in some form, like they told me, in some way, shape, or form, it is out there, but it's kind of like you are not a copy. Who you are right now is not a copy. You are you. You're an aspect of you that's over there, that's here. But there are, let's say, carbon copies of you playing out things. Mm-hmm. You're the original. And that's kind of another way too. When I see certain things and I see you in certain places, I'm seeing your carbon copy doing stuff, and then you can match up with it. Like I always tell people on this, and I'll say it every show if I have to, we literally go in and out of dimensions all day long is what we do. Boom, 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 in order to get us someplace. Like even when Lorilei earlier was talking to you guys about the car and that you go the same route every day. Well, then there was that one day you didn't get to go that route because you stubbed your toe and you hurt yourself. Another thing, you could have shifted over to that reality, and that's where you are now. So the rest of that day is probably going to be more about that reality. Can you take yourself back to the original? Can you take yourself to the original? I believe you can. And I believe that if you stubbed your toe and everything, you got on the road and were late to work that day and everything's going wrong, to get out of that reality, it's literally all in your mind. All you need to say is, you know what? Everything's okay. Everything's okay. I'm just going to have a great day. And when you say those things to yourself, you start sliding back into a reality where those things are happening, and you get right back on the track. So,
well, I love these I love these kind of stories, and I agree. Now, some of the things I've looked up, how you may be able to tell you're in a different reality. Say you had somebody, you live with someone, I live with someone like that, constantly insists that they've told me something, or we've had a conversation about something, and no, I don't drink, and no, I do have all my faculties about me, that I know we didn't do this. So I often wonder if I'm shifting in different time dimensions. That's one way to look at it. Or things might be in different places versus what you expected. Like, is it paranormal? Did you shift the timeline? Hard to say, right? But there are stories of this. Like, I know there is a pretty infamous story of 3 college girls, I believe, that were driving, I think, home for the holidays, and they went through kind of this remote mountainous range. And as they went through, like nothing changed, except all of a sudden the scenery was different. There was different vehicles. Like it was like they were in this hostile future environment. I kid you not. And I believe they were talking about, there were some flying cars and stuff. Like there were 3 of them. These girls did not make this up. Like they had PTSD after this. They ended up racing as fast as they could Sounds like they were in it for about 20 minutes or so. I didn't know if you need to go grab something, Dave. I just saw your message.
Go ahead, talk for a second, okay?
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, go ahead. So anyways, what happened was they somehow passed through the other end of the mountainous range that they were going through. It was this little town, and they ended up crashing their car. Nobody got hurt, but they called the police and were trying to tell the police what happened to them. They went back instead of coming from the other end. Nothing was there. What did they see? Did they enter a portal? Did they enter a different timeline? And that's the thing, right? Actually, I have a few friends that we discuss this quite a bit. Did you say sepsis? I don't think I did. If you were talking to me, Erica. But I talk about this with a few of my friends. Dave and I have a mutual friend, Leanne, and she's the one I call Erica. You'll know her. She was on my show. That's where you got your nickname that you gave yourself that I just adore, the Crystal Whore. We talk about this a lot because on TikTok, you got to be aware of everything. There is a story about this guy that claims he's accessed and been able to create energy portals where it's literally like walking through a plasma hole in the wall. You can see the other side and walking through. I call BS on a lot of that, and I know there's very good tricks of photography and video. I did not know this clip had come from here until just as of late, but there is a clip of him with a book, The Berenstain Bears, and I can't see any cuts in the video. As he walks through the doorway up to the bedroom of where he's living, it changes to the old way the Berenstain Bears were spelt. As he pulls back, it suddenly goes to the Berenstain Bears. He does it about 5 times. Was he crossing an energy line, energy portal? I don't know.
You never know, because I know there is some people try to do an exploitation to the Matrix stuff, because everybody talks about the Matrix. Now, I know honestly that what we see in front of us is real.
It's not a simulation,
but it's being created by you as you're going along on this. I wondered. I think you were switching back. I think like with the books and all that, when people are saying stuff is different, I had heard some had said that basically what happened is the earth is shifting. The entire earth is shifting, you guys. And I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it is. It's shifting to a higher dimension. We're shifting over there. So stuff like this is bound to happen at this point. The reason is because mass amounts of people are shifting into other timelines at the same time. So that's why I think we all see that, because I had a couple things that even like from the Wizard of Oz, I watched a million times growing up, and there's some stuff in the Wizard of Oz that's different now. Sesame Street, there's stuff that's different now. And I had asked them.
Now we get into the Mandela effect. You're reading my mind, kind of like, what is the Mandela effect? Like, why is this happening? Did we shift as a whole civilization?
That's what I believe. That's closest to what I'm beginning to believe the most. Is the entire or most of the world is shifting over, and that's why we're getting the Mandela effect. Because I remembered when Nelson Mandela passed away. I was old enough to know that back then. And then he didn't pass away, and I'm like, what did they lie? What happened?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Have you seen this, Dave? I have collected. I have so many saved, because one of these days we may do a whole show on this. That not just birds. I've seen planes frozen in air. I have seen all kinds of stuff.
But I'm very skeptical about them. And the only reason I'm skeptical, not that I doubt the person who made them, it's just that even now, did you guys hear? They're taking AIs. They're making AIs of people in compromising positions, showing it to them and telling them that they're going to blackmail them for that. So our technology has really gotten up there. And just like every other alien had predicted, and every other person had predicted, the more we get this technology, for some reason, humans love to abuse that stuff.
They always do. Yeah, but with the bird one, I think she's referring to, She's not the only one filming it, Dave. Like there are a whole bunch
I know
of people.
that. Yeah,
all
I saw. Is it a blackbird? Because I saw a bunch of it. There's one up there. I'm not quite
There's
sure.
a whole bunch of them. So I agree with you with the AI. That's the problem, right? Or deep
No,
fake.
it's making it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the catch-22, you guys. Lorilei will probably agree with me. So we're well aware of AI, and we're well aware that people can do camera tricks, and people go, well, you're psychic, shouldn't you know it? I'm like, well, yeah, psychically we could probably get the information of what it is, but who's going to listen to us? Because most people say psychic stuff isn't real anyway. So it's kind of a double-edged sword at this point.
Well, plus we don't get, like you just sort of touched
Don't
on
get every bit of information.
Yeah, but they don't tell us everything. And like I said, and I always preface a reading with people, I will tell them, I am not 100% right. No psychic or medium is 100% right. And if they claim that they are, run. Because there is nothing on this planet, maybe except maybe AI or computer right now in the moment that I've seen. Do they make the human error that we do? No. It's the same reason, like I used to wonder years ago why a medium may ask, I now know the answer, but a medium may ask, is your loved one that I'm picking up on still alive, or are they in spirit? I used to think, well, can't you tell the difference? Yeah, no, because you could be picking up on their higher self. There's, and then we've talked a little bit about this with past lives, that they're not really past lives. It's going on all at the same time, past, present, and future, right? Maybe we're gonna have to do a whole show on time.
Time, you guys, is unless you had an NDE experience, there's literally no way to describe the past, present, and future at the same time. But trust me, you guys will all get it as soon as you go back and be like, oh, I understand this.
It blows my mind when I love to talk about the multiverse and different dimensions and timelines and all this stuff. But the deeper and deeper I talk about it, the more and more it starts to make my head go in circles.
That's why you guys, if you don't know the story who's on here, I have a guy that I've been talking to. This one in particular, he said he's been with me for a very long time, but it was like probably the last like 7-8 years. And I'll ask a question. Now, I'm going to tell you an interesting question I asked, and he did give me the answer, and it's a short answer, so it's cool. But I'll ask him about stuff, and he'll say to me, does it matter? And the first time he said it to me, I said, yes, it matters. I really want to know. And then all the information got to me, and I didn't understand it. And then he asked again, he said, does it matter? And I'm like, no, I guess not, because I'm not going to get it. But there was one question that I asked, and I've asked this question over and over for years, and I keep getting the same answer all the time. And I said, because people always talk about the universe is so many billions of years old or whatever. And I said, hey, when was the universe formed? And I said, when was the beginning of the universe? And the 2 words, no beginning. That's what they said, no beginning. I'm like, how does that mean? And then it was explained to me that our universe that we have not gone beyond, not even our science has, is newer. But every time souls go back or people go back from every planet, every place, the knowledge goes in. And what happens is the source, or whatever you want to call it, uses that information to create. And that is why the universe will never, ever, ever end, because it's always being created. As long as we're reincarnating, as long as there's stuff going on in the physical realm, the spiritual realm will continue to grow and get bigger and bigger. Our universe he said it didn't have a beginning, but there was a big bang. But the universe existed before the big bang. Really,
so many Earth creation stories. I always say we're never going to know all the answers till we go back.
Until we go back.
I want to comment on this, and I wanted to bring something else up quickly. So Erica says, that's like Jen, Dave's friend, keeps telling me, don't feed the psychic, LOL. And it's true. And I know Roger was talking about this, and you will hear most good psychics, myself included, and David, you don't tell us anything. Like we may ask a birthday, we may ask a name. I don't want to know anything else, because if you tell me, I don't know if it's what you told me or what I picked up. So I know when I tune into someone's energy that what I'm picking up is what I'm picking up. So I always tell people, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me, right, Dave? And then I wanted to throw this last little bit out here after.
That could not. That is so disgustingly true. Listen, you guys, if you ever talk to a psychic or a spiritual, or you want to become one, word to the wise. The less you know, the easier it is.
It is. It's easier.
Funny. Some psychics want to bait you into giving you the information, so whatever. But you don't want to do that. If somebody if I get in, like sometimes I'll come in and I'll say, I have a gentleman here who's coming to be your father, and da 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 da, and they'll be like, yeah, that's my dad. When he grew up, he was blah blah. They start telling me this is a whole entire story,
and you're going la 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 la.
I'm going to validate stuff now. There's not going to be any conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true what she says. Brandy Reader.
Okay, before she reads that, I just want to throw this out there because we got a little bit of time left. First of all, Robin sent me some incredible, he did a live investigation, paranormal investigation over in the UK, sent me some cool pictures. One almost looks like a shadow person. So who knows, we'll maybe get his permission. We can look at those next week. But let's talk about prophetic dreams after Brandy's. What do you think? Because we talked about that before. We said we were going to talk about it.
Well, you can talk about prophetic dreams before we go. But I'm sorry, I got these guys in my ear right now. If you guys aren't watching and you're listening, I pointed up in the air that I'm saying my guides. They're on my right side.
No, I knew we had to get to Brandy's comment. I just wanted to throw it in there. I got it marked. Look at my page. I make notes because I have so many thoughts coming through.
Brandy, you are going to be the recipient of the predictable reading. And this is going to be really short for you. And I'm very, very sorry. And since there's not a lot of people on here, you can answer me right away. Mom, did mom have this? It's like beautiful, like several little beaded necklaces, because I'm wearing them all right now. And I'm also wearing a yellow shirt. Almost looks like a gauze shirt. It's very comfortable. And thank you. There's like a brown vest or something that goes over it. Let me know if that rings a bell, because it came in with your energy. So I'm not quite sure.
Okay, because I'll just add her comment. She says there are times, and it's not to your question yet. She says there are times I feel like I can hear and feel the earth shifting. Not long after that happens, something significant happens in the world. So she kind of almost went into prophetic dreams. I didn't know. Brandy goes, yes, with a big exclamation.
Yes. Okay, Brandy, real short and sweet then. Mom says she loves you, okay? That was all she gave me, and she looked really good. She actually appeared a little taller than what she normally would be. She's standing up very, very straight, and I know her chest and all. I'm supposed to tell you, this all feels really good.
Yeah, because I keep hearing, Dave, and I don't normally do this with your readings. It's all going to be okay. That's what I just heard. It's all going to be okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that, Brandy, just because she popped in. And you guys, normally I don't ever do mediumship readings. I know that was close. That was a very good mediumship reading. But when Brandy was here, that woman just kept whispering in my ear. And that's why I was tugging on my ear. So she wanted me to say hello to you.
Oh, what a beautiful message.
Brandy, continue to keep talking to her. She said it kind of stopped for a little bit because you got busy or something happened, but she said, continue. Also, I don't know if the little girl, because you expressed concern about the little girl, dark-haired girl, not feeling well for a while, and said that she would be fine. She's fine. There's nothing to worry about. I don't know if this was something that already happened or not. And I'm sorry to do that, but.
No, she just said, she knows right when to pop in. Thank you. Do you think, because I don't tag team Dave's mediumship readings. That's what I kept hearing was it's all going to be okay. And I didn't know anything about what you were talking about.
She was talking about the child.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I wish I knew more. I'm not connected at all, but Brandy, your mom must really be good at what in the hell she does, because my brain is not connected to doing any mediumship whatsoever right now, and she got in.
She must be, because Dave, I don't think I can remember a show where I've added something to something like a personal mediumship reading, and I didn't see her, nothing. I just kept hearing.
Yep, you just got it.
Mention everything's going to be okay.
Thank you, Brandy. Mom's great. She looks really good. And those necklaces are beautiful. I don't know why she wanted me to concentrate on those necklaces, the yellow and the brown, or I don't know if it's a brown vest or not. Was your mom like a hippie chick, or was she?
Oh my God, I was just thinking that. That's exactly as you were describing it.
Was your mom a hippie chick, or was it's? And I'm not confusing or saying anything bad. I either got the feeling of like very hippie, very earthy, very that, and I also got the fact that I don't know if she's Indian maybe or has some Indian in her, but she had a lot to do with Indian artifacts or something because they're all around your energy. Brandy said she's talking about my midget. I've been asking her to let me know she would be okay. Good. You got a double validation from both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She said, yes, total hippie and connected to the earth. Oh,
thank you, Brandy.
Beautiful energy, eh? Because I'm not even I don't know her or anything. It just she when she wants to say something, it obviously comes through in the most beautiful, profound way. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's cool. Well, okay. So that was the predictable reading.
Sometimes we get into these deep conversations. So sometimes we do it and sometimes we just don't have enough time. But I didn't even read your comment, Brandy, too. And you just kind of almost, we've got a little bit of time to talk about prophetic dreams. And do you want to read her comment, Dave, again?
Brandy said, there are times I feel I can hear and feel the earth shifting. Not long after that happens, something significant happens in the world. This is good. Well, we're going to segue into prophetic dreams because sometimes prophetic things can happen when you are awake. Prophetic dreams are usually what happens is we get connected for whatever reason. It happens to a lot of psychics because we're connected quite a bit. When you sleep, you might connect into a world thing, or you might just be connected into the energy. And don't worry if you can't do anything about it, because you're literally just plugged in, because that was explained to me by my guides. When we're in certain states of consciousness, we're plugging in and becoming like almost all knowing at that moment, just for that moment. So that's I believe you, Brandy, that you see that and then things happen. That's prophetic. And sometimes we have that in dreams. I will tell somebody though, anybody listening, please, 98% of the time or 99% of the time, if you have a prophetic dream about you or a close loved one passing soon, sometimes that's not what they're trying to tell you. It's how our brain is interpreting it. Not that it can't happen, because I've had it before. And that's the only reason I gave it a 98. Because I think...
But Dave, I got to jump in here just for a sec, because I can tell you, before I was aware of my abilities, okay, I always use them, I just didn't use them the way I do now. I can tell you that I've had many a dream about, say, a friend or a family member dying or whatever, and 98% of the time they didn't die, but something was going to change or shift, and not even necessarily negative or positive. There was just, it was coming through, because again, I'm going to go back to Erica really quickly with Lori Williams. She teaches us that the subconscious speaks a different language than the, I hate this term, monkey mind, but our brain that we use, that we think runs everything, right? And the way she teaches her remote viewing, going back to that quickly, is kind of bridging that gap to connect the two. And so for me, I didn't mean to cut you off because I wanted to add a bit more about prophetic dreams, but I just wanted to throw that in there for you. Sorry.
No, I agree. That was a really good point, actually. That was absolutely.
Like for you, and I think we have to look at it as an experience, right? Like you're already connected and tuned in as a psychic. So you may be, because I've met many a psychic who has had a loved one visit them, say the night before. They know they're going to pass in a couple hours, and maybe they've already passed, and they will come and tell you, I'm going to be okay. This is what's going to happen. So I think it depends on the circumstance and who you are as a person too.
It does. And as far as like prophetic dreaming, I'm going to give you a short story. I can tell you this story fast. About 5 years ago or so, it's about 5 years ago now. I kept having, for like a week straight, I kept having these religious dreams. If you knew me, and some of you do, I don't care about religion.
I'm smiling.
It's not anything anymore. It's totally gone. But I kept having these religious dreams. And I mean, some of them were really weird. And it was confusing me. So I started asking some of my other psychic friends. I'm like, hey, have you been having weird dreams lately? And they're like, oh, yeah, we have. And I'm like, well, what are they? Because I didn't want to tell them. And they would tell me, and it was the same thing. A bunch of us were having the same dream about religious dreams, and they weren't going well in the dream. What happened is all of a sudden, the news came out that Notre Dame got burnt down.
Oh, I think you told me about
Yeah,
this.
I told you that. So now people, a lot of people ask me, well, did you know it was going to burn down? I'm like, not in so many words. And even if I did, there's nothing I can do about it. I have a lot of new people that I know who have just become mediums, and they'll say to me, oh, David, I had this. One lady did, and it took me forever to get her to stop. But she had written to me and said she kept having this dream about this little girl who was kidnapped and taken away, and that she was going to be, offed or whatever. And I said, do you know her or the mom or something? She goes, no, I just keep dreaming about it. And I said, okay. I said, what else do you get from it? Like a state? And she said the state. And she goes, I need to reach out and help this girl. I need to reach out and help that girl. And I said, listen, if you call that police department and tell them you had a dream about that little girl and it's wrong or something like that, you're in a lot of trouble. I said, listen, sometimes psychics and everybody, we will get prophetic dreams. Prophetic dreams mean we just kind of see future events happening. Just because we see it doesn't mean we can do anything about it. So I had asked after Notre Dame burnt down, I said, hey, if I get any more of these kind of dreams, will you please filter them or don't let me have them unless I can do something about it? So that's exactly what they do now. But sometimes I still get dreams about earthquakes and storms and stuff. But I know in my mind, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody I was mentoring, and they are really incredible. They're over in Europe, and they get like visions of things that are going to come and pass, like disasters and what have you. I had another friend like literally seeing through the eyes of a killer with children. And I've had many a conversation privately with these people, and they've come to agree with me that as much as it maybe pains them and they've got a lot of information, how do you pass that along to law enforcement without looking like a wackadoo or that you were the perpetrator of the crime? So I love what you shared, Dave, what you said. You've said to your guides, like, can you filter this? Doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't. They do.
Unless I can do something about it, because it just creates anxiety and concern, and it doesn't really fulfill a purpose, does it? Especially when it's on a personal level and there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, even like a lot of information that I received, people are like, where did you get that information? I'm like, well, I knew it. They told me. There's a part when I had my NDE and I went into what I refer to as the void, which is basically just this big, beautiful, dark space, and it's just feel great. But it's like a place you can go where you're like connected to everything. Like every answer in the world is there. If you can get into that room, you're going to come back with every answer. So
the room of requirement.
came back with a lot of unknown knowledge, or like Dolores Cannon used to say, lost knowledge or knowledge that's no longer here. So I did come back with some of that. But to get back to prophetic dreams, that's usually why you have a prophetic dream. It's because for some reason you are just really connected into source, to everything. If you can train yourself to do that, that would be awesome. There's a lot of Edgar Casey was known as the sleeping prophet because he would literally go to sleep and mumble this information to his wife, and it happened. I mean, a lot of Edgar Casey's stuff was super accurate. So he was getting all those things. What else have you got about prophetic dreams, Lorilei?
Okay, so what I was going to add, and I'm sure Erica can agree with me. So you guys, if we're really interested by what we shared with remote viewing, even if you think it sounds crazy, check it out. There's lots of free resources. But when Lori Williams runs her master class, and I love what she said, and this is why it's so important to jot things down, or I loved what, I think it was Erica that mentioned about a voice recorder. If you can find one and afford one or record it on your phone, whatever you want. Lori was talking about the purpose of our dreams. And sometimes they're prophetic. Sometimes it could be a visitation or information from your guides, angels, family members on the other side. Sometimes, sorry?
Release dreams. Those
I'm
are
not done yet. Not done. Not done.
Oh, got it on there. Gotcha.
Information. Okay, there's information. You're getting information that you may need, or maybe some numbers, whatever. Could be signs from the other side again. Release dreams, which I don't know if it's the same, we're talking the same language here. She called them nonsense dreams, because the purpose of dreaming, actually, besides just rapid eye movement or REM state, is that we need to rest, because our subconscious, if you will, and our brain takes in so much during the day. It's almost like the brain, while we're sleeping, starts to file all that information and stick it here and stick it there and stick it here, stick it there, and removes the nonsense that doesn't serve any purpose. Is that what you were talking about with release dreams?
That's exactly it. A release dream are those mumbo jumbo dreams that are all over the place that don't make any sense. Because your body, like Lorilei says, your brain needs to purge some of the stuff that was in your head. The human brain is wonderful, and nothing against humans and all of us, but we can only store so much information.
Cheers. We got Sri Lanka. He says, I just found this show. Well, welcome. I hope you'll come back and check out the rest of the network. David and I are here every Thursday at this time. Shannon says, I often have patients who passed away visit me in my dreams. I want to share something quickly. We're almost running out of time. I worked a lot in palliative care and terminal cancer patients and things, death and dying in the home as a nurse. And what would happen, and again, I used my abilities, but I wasn't aware of them the way I am now. I would just be driving out with some friends, whatever, and a patient that I had on my caseload would pop into my mind. Always, like the name, their face, the whole bit. Without fail, within a week, I would see them as an obituary, like a real obituary in the paper. I started to think I was, quote unquote, the harbinger of death. I really did, like, not from an egotistical thing. I'm going like, what's going on? And I've since come to realize, and, you know, speaking with different people, and I may change my mind. I think it was just sort of, if you will, from their soul, sort of giving me a heads up. I was no longer in contact. Sometimes I was, but sometimes I had already discharged them, whatever. And that's why they popped up. I wasn't causing their demise. It was like their soul, if you will, was just sort of having a little quick pop in, saying, hi, you know, I'm going to be leaving soon, whatever. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but.
No, it makes absolute sense.
And same as your patients. So you know what? The easiest way for our loved ones to visit us, and I'm sure Dave will agree 100%, especially if we may be grieving or a little bit sad or whatever it is, to pop into our dream state and visit us and have a convo.
Yeah, because remember, visitation dreams, they are not lucid dreams.
Oh, we forgot to talk about those. Those are important too, Dave. Go for it.
Those are not lucid dreams, and they're kind of considered astral to OBE, because, and you know what, whether you know this or not, but I'm going to give you guys all something to chew on. Your past loved ones that left, you do have a direct connection with them and your guides a couple times a week at least.
Yeah.
When the body has to sleep, it does. It's a human body does. And I guess the brain does, but consciousness does not. So when you go to sleep, consciousness is like twiddling its thumbs, like, oh my God, wake up, let's move on with it. So consciousness can move around, and you do visit your loved ones. You do visit your guides, who probably give you some sort of instructions for something. And then you kind of forget, and it comes out in intuition.
I'm going to read this last comment. Then we have to go because we have our next show coming up. Brandy Reader, and I agree with 100%, says, I think they are patients expressing their appreciation of you, Shannon, and your care. And I agree wholeheartedly. What do you think, Dave?
I do. In case anybody missed it, Shannon had said that that some of her patients who had passed away had come visited her.
Okay, we'll read this last one. We forgot to mention, I didn't ask if you were back at work. I'm guessing you're not, because Shannon, when she's at work working evenings as a nurse, has her whole little paranormal gang that hang out with her listening to the iPad instead of old-time radio. They're seniors, so it's so cool. So I don't think you're back at work, but if you are, hey, paranormal gang, thanks for tuning in, and all of you. So she said, the lady who visited me the other day, she was so excited to see me as I'm thinking her nurse, it's supposed to say, to this moment, I still feel the love she had for me when she hugged me. And I love that. I'm going to tell you very quickly, Roger actually asked me somebody by a name, and it brought me to tears because it was a patient of mine years ago. And as a nurse, not that we don't care about each and every patient, but there are certain people with the amount of time you spend with them that they touch your soul and they stay with you forever. It brought me to tears to hear he was around me still. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Erica said, I can't believe I haven't jumped to my daddy yet, but it's only been a month. So I guess he's still soaking all the amazing going on right now. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But another one, Erica, is because it's close to you. Listen.
You got to run, Dave. I'm so sorry. We got like 1 minute. Sorry. I apologize.
And they're always trying to get through, so he'll be there eventually. If anybody would like to get a hold of me, they can go to my website, theywhispertome.com. You can watch me on YouTube, TikTok, and TikTok channel, and Instagram at Medium David Hanzel. I never ever private message people for readings. You can only obtain a reading from me by going to my website, theywhispertome.com. And go, Lori.
Okay, Erica, I'm sorry about that. So I'm hoping maybe we can talk a little bit more. I'm going to make a note of that, okay, about next week, because I don't like to cut people short like that. But I want you guys, if you can, to stay tuned for the Outer Realm Part 2. We've got Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano coming up next. They've got an amazing show. They're on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. If you see something you like here, please like, share, and subscribe. There's something for everybody on here, and let your friends and family know. If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock for guest show idea, healing sessions, mentoring. I do readings as well. 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, Angel Rocker Tribe for spiritual type things. Watch for next week. We tried to do it this week. We did it last week. Dave and I are going to start trying to go live usually on Wednesday nights, right, Dave? On TikTok, do some free readings and let you know about the show coming up.
Yep.
Great. Okay. So you guys, thanks so much. Don't forget to tune in this Monday. My guest had to cancel, so we may be having a hangout on the Angel Rock, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys all so much. Thank you for all your love here. And we will see you next Thursday. Are we ready to do it, Dave? See if we can do it again.
1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
Pretty close. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. We love you. Okay.